Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today, the Realizing the Value of Tableau CRM. We have a packed hour here, so we're going to cover a lot of great content. So hopefully everyone can see our screen, and we will be recording the session. So for anyone that wasn't able to make it, or if you want to share it with some of your colleagues, please feel free to do so. So my name is DJ McSwiggan. I'm a account executive here at Salesforce, responsible for our analytics platform. And with me today, I also have my colleague, Brittany Thornton, who's on the Salesforce analytics team, as well as Gene Zeiger. Gene, do you want to do maybe a quick intro of yourself and the Atrium side?
Yes, thank you, DJ. Gene Zeiger. I'm Customer Engagement Director at Atrium. And we also are really excited to have our guest today, Anthony Aikman from NewRez as well. Thank you, DJ.
Yes, excellent. And yes, later in the session, we're going to hear from Anthony just regarding the NewRez story and some best practices for success there. So jumping right into the agenda today, like I said, we got a lot of great content to cover. For those that may be newer to Tableau CRM, we'll start with just kind of a brief overview of the platform. Then we're going to hear from Gene and the Atrium team about some great use cases in the banking, credit union, financial services space, and some guidance on how to get started. I think we have a lot of folks on the line today that are thinking about use cases and how to leverage Tableau CRM in their orgs. They may be early on the journey or midway through the journey. So hopefully get some good best practices there. And then we're going to have a fireside chat conversation with Anthony from NewRez about their story with Salesforce and with Tableau CRM in particular. And then lastly, we're going to wrap up with a demonstration and show some sample use cases. Brittany is going to take us through there. So diving right in, I thought I'd just give kind of a brief level set of Tableau CRM. So the name may be new to many on the call today. If you're familiar with Einstein Analytics, Tableau CRM is what we have rebranded Einstein Analytics to. So Salesforce has acquired Tableau. We're all part of one analytics family now. And the capabilities of Einstein Analytics are now known as Tableau CRM. And I think the unique aspect of Tableau CRM compared to some of the broader capabilities of Tableau is Tableau CRM is native to your CRM environment. So when we talk about embedding these assets within workflows of your end users and the jobs that they have to do on a day-to-day basis, Tableau CRM is really good at that. So it's native to your CRM. It inherits all of your security, permissioning, and profiles. It knows the user roles, so it knows the default KPIs and metrics that they care about and they want to see as part of their Salesforce experience. And there's also AI built in here. So when we think about the Salesforce experience, having a guidance system to recommend to end users who the next lead they need to be calling is, or who the next opportunity they need to be focused on based on a propensity score is a really key aspect. So it's the ability to build these AI models based on the business questions you want to ask and you want your end users to ask. And lastly, the sense of extreme speed and scalability here. This is under the hood a machine learning and AI engine. So you can build these data science models, but build them at scale and deploy them at scale for a number of different use cases and in an interface that's consumable for a business user, that they don't have to translate a Python or an R coded model. It's explained to them in natural language. So this is what we mean when we talk about Tableau CRM, this embedded analytical guided experience for Salesforce users. To give an audience just a sense of just some sample use cases here, I won't touch on each one of these because there's a few on the screen, but the idea here is that they really run the gamut of the client engagement lifecycle. So everything from the top left of how do we acquire new business, whether that's lead and referral scoring, or on the top left, once we've acquired a lead, how do we successfully drive forward a sales cycle or an engagement cycle? That's things like measuring propensity to win an engagement or propensity to onboard a new account. Moving to the bottom right, from a service perspective, how do we measure the interactions we have with our clients to make sure that they're having a positive experience? So all around contact center analytics, measuring Net Promoter Score, predicting next best action or next best offer. And then on the bottom left, this concept of deepen. So for your existing client base today, how do you deepen the relationship? And whether that's an early warning system of maybe there's some problems in the relationship and they're thinking about attrition, they're thinking about leaving, using Tableau CRM to predict likelihood of attrition or likelihood of a customer satisfaction issue, or even growing the business. So deepening wallet share and referral business between different aspects of the organization. So just to get the audience thinking about some types of use cases that are pretty common for Tableau CRM today. And then the last point before I hand it over to Gene and the Atrium team is all of this is built through the lens of financial services and through the lens of banking and wealth management and lending. So our investment in Tableau CRM continues to be within the subverticals in financial services. So we have out-of-the-box templates built for wealth. We have out-of-the-box templates built for retail banking, as well as the lending experience. So the NewRez team on the line today, represented by Anthony, was critical in this lending lens in what are sort of the KPIs and measurements that are important for lenders from an analytical experience, and how do we incorporate that in Tableau CRM? So just know that this is a key aspect of time to value. You can run these templates early and deliver value for your end users without the need to reinvent the wheel, without the need to build these assets from scratch. So with that said, I want to pass it over to Gene and the Atrium team to talk a little bit about what a successful implementation story looks like.
DJ, thank you so much. Really appreciate you working with us and coming together on this webinar. And thank you everyone for joining us. A little bit about Atrium and who we are. We are honored to be a Platinum Salesforce partner and have become, over the past several years, the go-to partner for formerly Einstein, now Tableau CRM, both from an analytics perspective as well as from an AI and data science perspective. And we're based in Bozeman, Montana, with some data centers in Indianapolis and Jaipur, India. We are probably one of the fastest growing partners in the Salesforce ecosystem. And part of the reason for that is Salesforce's key focus on the intelligent experience, as DJ is describing. So let's talk a little bit about that and see what we mean by that. DJ, if you'd go to the next slide, please. What we have seen is an evolution from Salesforce and in general, early on, systems being really just systems of record. In the 80s and 90s, we were really just creating applications where we would simply just be dumping. There would be a dumping ground for data, and Salesforce has changed all that in 2000s when it came out with a CRM that became a system of engagement, where we're really engaging our clients, we're really engaging our users, we're collaborating, we're working closely together to ensure client success. But the evolution we feel today is to take all the data that we've gathered and all of the engagement that we have internally and externally with our clients and create systems of intelligence that allow us to work smarter, that give our users recommendations for what to do next, that automate a lot of tasks so that we can have in the banking sector and the financial sector augmented advisors or consultants or relationship managers who can spend time focused on their business and not on the analysis and thinking about what to do next. So that's what we're all about, and that's what really drives Atrium. DJ, next slide, please, if you would. And so, how do we get started with analytics? What are the key focus areas, and what are the most important things that we that we do with our clients very early on in the cycle. What's interesting is a lot of the getting started is really no different from thinking about our big initiatives, except that what we're finding, the AI and analytics focused initiatives are all about business benefit. What are our top business questions that we're trying to answer? Whether it be how do we acquire more clients, or how do we retain our client base, or how do we grow our client base or have more product sell through within our client base. And so with that, the starting points are all the things that are really core to super successful initiatives, and that is setting the vision. Where are we going, and what are we going to be truly creating from a system of intelligence perspective? What are the business cases? And most importantly, what are the use cases that are going to be prioritized that we start working on first, and then go to the next one and go to the next one? We create a timeline and a resource plan that really works for everybody and ensures that we have commitment and deep understanding of the level of effort required for this. Because if you look at people who are super successful with artificial intelligence and analytics, those are people who are investing a lot of time and resources from different types of people in their organization. Everyone from executive leadership to data people, to analytics and data science folks, to business users who can really help us outline exactly what their goals are. And of course, we always have to have a very specific target architecture, particularly when it comes to data, because data is at the core of what we do here, and ensuring that we have data set up the right way, captured in the right way from multiple systems, and fully aligned for our business use cases is probably the long pole in the tent for all of us. So that's the high level overview of how we think about getting started. So without further ado, I wanted to introduce our special guest. We have with us Anthony Aikman from NewRez, and Anthony we just have the privilege of working with Anthony and his team, and have been doing it for a while now. And we get a chance to watch Anthony do his thing on a day-to-day basis, and just are super excited about having him with us here to talk. So Anthony, we'll just do a little bit of a kind of a fireside chat discussion here today. So appreciate you joining us. Maybe if you could give everyone a little bit of information about yourself, maybe a little background on NewRez.
Sure. And thank you for the introduction, Gene. Greatly appreciated. Hi, everybody. I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for joining. So, as Gene mentioned, I'm Anthony Aikman. I am the senior manager of the Salesforce environment for NewRez. So I'm the enterprise CRM leader that encompasses our financial service cloud implementation, which is currently in flight. Tableau CRM is a part of that. We also have Marketing Cloud, and our telephony contact center integration falls under my team as well. On the team, we've got admins, business analysts, and developers. So we have a pretty robust platform team here. In terms of my background, I've been working in the Salesforce space for a little over 6 years across a couple different industries. Originally coming from casino gaming, but now been with NewRez in the mortgage space for the past year or so, and working with Atrium for the majority of that time.
Thanks, Anthony, and maybe a little bit about NewRez as well, and kind of what the company does and focuses on.
Sure. So, NewRez is a national mortgage lender operating in 49 states, originating and servicing loans. In my time with the company, been heavily focused on our retention business, and obviously through COVID, market conditions, as I'm sure everyone is very familiar with, have been going through a great deal of flux throughout my time with the company. But a national mortgage lender is who we are, operating about 500 or so loan officers and originations, if that makes sense.
And yeah, and extraordinary growth also. It's amazing to see the company just grow and grow and grow. So
Oh, absolutely. I've been with the company about a year, and I'm one of the longer tenured people that in any given meeting, because we've grown so much. We've hired on a lot of folks in the technology space, especially.
got it. So Anthony, I know you have a lot of experience with Salesforce. How did you get started with Salesforce and analytics? Where did it originate, and how did you
Sure.
into it?
So as I mentioned, we've been going through the implementation of Financial Service Cloud at the moment, working with Atrium as our SI. The genesis of that project specifically was to overcome a highly custom existing implementation of Service Cloud that we were having extreme difficulty scaling and adapting, especially given the changing market conditions presented by COVID, right? So we had to constantly change, whether it's lead routing priorities or other system capabilities to adapt to what the business needs were throughout COVID. And we did not have an enterprise view of our customer. The business, the data model was heavily loan centric rather than customer centric. So, collecting a central customer, data point, it was really non-existent. And, we had a lot of asks from our senior executive team in terms of visibility for lead routing performance, analytics on, individual agent performance. And we had a lot of difficulties providing some of the actionable analytics based on the highly custom architecture of the existing system. So the decision was made to re-platform from Service Cloud to Financial Service Cloud to help provide a lot of that clarity.
Right. Yeah, and some of the analytics that we've been talking about too, it's the visibility to management team, but it really is kind of visibility for everybody, for the loan officers, for the customer service folks. It's really knowing exactly where they are in the process and kind of extending it out to everyone in the organization.
That's exactly right, 100%. Really giving our loan officers a clear view into their daily performance benchmarked against their peers is something that we will be able to do as part of the work that's being done now, right? So that's something that was missing. And in order to do that, we have to collect data from other systems outside of Salesforce, including our contact center, our cloud telephony system. And the Tableau CRM is going to be that system that ingests the call center data, and melds that with Salesforce, the data native to Salesforce, and provides our agents a picture of their performance, and not just their daily performance, but benchmarks against their peers on their team and throughout the wider organization.
Right. Got it. Yeah, and that is important for people to understand that Tableau CRM really provides kind of not data inside of the CRM, not only in analytics and sort of recommendations, but not only from data from Salesforce, but also from other systems, like in your case, the telephony system, which is absolutely critical to the business, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be absolutely, 100% key for our agents to really start, driving performance and continued growth. So that's going to be probably one of the biggest wins of this project is collecting that data into one place where the agents can see it without leaving the CRM.
That's right.
We want people to stay in the application to, so that efficiency stays where it needs to be. And this will give them that picture without having to exit and go to a reporting tool or elsewhere.
That's right. And you just reminded me about one other thing I might add, that is, there's some things that Tableau CRM provides that are, that are based on data brought over from different systems, and it might take time to help visualize certain things within kind of an analytics structure. But then there are other things and reports and visualizations that we're building together that are actually going to be real time, or pretty much real time, for people exactly where they stand, right? So.
Yeah, and again, that's those intraday dashboards of performance, right? Which collects that data from the call center, data from Salesforce. So how many calls you're answering, how you're performing against different benchmarks, how you're moving through your lead pipeline. we have to have the data collated between the two, but to be able to do so in real time or very, very close to real time is a massive win.
Right. So thank you. That's a lot of insight into the current state and what we're working on, and we're super excited. Like, this is going to be a true kind of visionary view into how loan origination and servicing comes together with analytics and insights in one place. So super excited about the launch of this system. Maybe you could talk a little bit, Anthony, about kind of your future ideas, view, thinking, or looking ahead at, what you think some of the opportunities are for even taking it to the next level.
I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity to leverage Tableau CRM's the above and beyond the dashboards and analytics to help provide, whether it's lead scoring, so we can further optimize routing, to help us identify agent performance, to use those predictive analytics, the AI portion of this in the future to help us identify hotspots or areas to improve or things we're doing well, recommend next actions, and make sure that we are we're presenting the right leads to the right agents or the right cases to the right agents if we're talking servicing. I think that's really kind of the future vision for what we can do with this platform, above and beyond providing the visibility and clarity to individuals throughout the organization, from agents up to the executive team, but helping to then further optimize various different processes through.
Yeah, I was thinking also, like, in this current phase, we're really spending time and thinking through, now that you have your origination and servicing teams connected on one system, if you would, or one view into the client. The loan recapture was a key initiative and is a key initiative, right?
That's a great point.
And so out of the gate, we will have some initial capability for the servicing team to provide loan recapture. But maybe you can talk a little bit about, how what the opportunities in the future potentially of identifying those types.
Sure. So again, through this project, we're unifying the servicing and lending sides of the business and providing a real closed loop for our customers, from loan origination through to servicing, and then eventually refinance without leaving the Salesforce platform. But again, in terms of the retention business, identifying likelihood to refinance and things of that nature through the advanced analytics is definitely an area of opportunity that we want to target for future growth, so that we can identify the loans that are most likely to convert to refinance and prioritize those and get those to a loan officer.
That's super exciting. I guess I didn't know enough about the mortgage business until we started working together, but I learned quite a bit of the importance of that loan recapture process, and keeping the client over the years. It's a really critical aspect.
Absolutely. Yep. Again, it's been a focus for the organization since I've joined, and I'm sure will continue to be so. Yeah.
And so, Anthony, what would you say now that you're going through this journey? You're going to be in this implementation mode. I know you're super busy. It's a fun but a crazy time, and this is gonna there's all this upside and opportunity as well. What are your lessons learned and advice, and what would you say to people kind of starting out and doing some of this work, and
Sure.
thinking about the opportunities, like if you were to do it all over again, maybe some good, bad, sort of the good, the bad, and the ugly?
Well, I kind of touched on this earlier, but I think getting the data model in Salesforce right up front is absolutely critical. Again, our focus in this implementation has been to stay as close to the standard Salesforce data model as possible, and go custom only where necessary for business needs, with a real config first approach to how we're doing this. Because again, that was really the limiting factor in our prior implementation that made reporting on and surfacing actionable insights extraordinarily difficult. But with the standard data model, I think a lot of that becomes much easier. So that's definitely the foundation for any implementation.
Totally. I would also say, I think that NewRez, to me, is the epitome of the management team, users being willing to leverage technology, but the management team and the executive team really driving innovation and really driving the need for analytics and metrics and thinking and making sure that everything is not just monitored, but leveraged in terms of data within the organization. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Having executive team buy-in and support, and even above and beyond that, really just, again, having a strong desire to be a data-driven or more data-driven organization. I mean, identifying where and how we can do that from the executive team down has been a huge part of this process.
Totally. Well, Anthony, we can't thank you enough for the partnership, for working with us, for both from a Salesforce and Atrium perspective. I know I speak for Salesforce. We thank you. Thank you for joining us and telling the story. We really
absolutely. Thank you to both Atrium and Salesforce for having me today.
Appreciate it. All right, we will. So, DJ, I think we'll turn it back to you, and then to Brittany to show us stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And Anthony, thank you again. I think your comments were very insightful, and hopefully those that are on the line or that are thinking about how to get started can learn a little bit about the NewRez thought process about how to get started. So I am going to stop sharing my screen, and then Brittany, if you want to take over the share. I think the next portion here is we want to just start showing you some examples of how these assets, these Tableau CRM assets, can look embedded within your Salesforce org. There we go. I see your screen, Brittany, now. So I'll pass it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, DJ. Perfect. So what we're going to be looking at today, I'm going to show you all a view from the sales rep perspective. So from a commercial sales rep, so that'd be that end user whose day-to-day is working from within Salesforce. So before I hop into character here, I know that DJ did point out in the beginning of the presentation that Tableau CRM is native to Salesforce. So I did kind of want to point that out and highlight that quickly. What does that mean, right? So what we see here is an embedded Tableau CRM dashboard that's embedded throughout the workflow. So we'll take a look at that today. But native also means a few different things. So native also means that we are inheriting our sharing rules from Salesforce, so our security. So to the end user, that means that I'm focusing only on the data that I should be, that is important to me. But also from a business side, that also means that we know that our data is secure, that no one is seeing any type of data that they shouldn't be within Salesforce. So with that, I'll go ahead and hop into character here. So again, from the commercial sales rep persona. So upon logging into Salesforce, this is a view that I may see. So this would be, again, immediately greeted with that Tableau CRM dashboard embedded directly into my workflow. And what this is giving me is a quick overview of what my sales performance looks like. So immediately what I see here is how I'm doing this current year, how I'm doing against my last year, how I'm doing against my year-to-date goal. So we can see here that I haven't been the best sales rep this year. But what we're seeing here is we're calling out with color, right, conditional formatting, where I'm possibly underperforming, right, where I need to be spending my time. So I can quickly identify where I do need to be focusing on to make sure that I am hitting those numbers. I can also quickly identify what my gap is to my goal. So understanding how much more do I have, right? Along with understanding what my performance has been, I can also see my historical trends. So what we see here is broken down by product. So I can take a look at what my card historic trending has been, what the future looks like. So what does my forecast, where does my trending seem to be going towards? We see here that deposits is pretty flatlined in my forecasting. So that's something that I would consider a red flag, right? Something that I probably need to spend some time making sure that this is going in an upwards trend. Right, we see here loans is trending upwards, which is a good sign to me, but I'm still not doing as good as last year, right? So I want to make sure that I am hitting those numbers for my loan product. So taking a look at my pipeline itself. So as a commercial sales rep, I'm focused on 3 things, right? So 1, growing new business within existing customers, retaining my business, so protecting that business, and also growing net new business. So here I'm taking a look at my pipeline, growing my existing business here. I get a view of what my current pipeline looks like broken down by date, so when it is expected to close, and also by stage. So I get an understanding of what that pipeline looks like in those months. But I can also see how my pipeline's trending, so my historical. So I can gauge the health of my pipeline this month against other months and really understand where there might be outliers. Is there seasonality in my pipeline? Questions like that. Hopping back over to my current pipeline here, I do know that I have a large gap to hitting my goal for loans. So here what I see is my proposal accepted, right? So what opportunities do I have that are expected to close soon, right? That are in that last stage. So what we see here is I have the ability to actually drill down into these dashboards. So by clicking here, we saw how all of this dashboard did filter based off of that here. Another thing I do notice is this Einstein predicted score. So what is my likelihood or propensity to close? So what this is telling me here is that I have a very large opportunity that's in its last stages before closing, but I also only have a 50% chance to likelihood to close this opportunity. So basically a coin flip. So based off this, as a sales rep, I want to do everything that I can to ensure that this opportunity will close. So as I said, Tableau CRM is native to Salesforce. So that also means that it is actionable. So I do have the ability to drive action directly from the dashboard itself. So what that allows me to do is really increase my efficiency, right? I don't need to swivel chair between applications. I can create an event, a task, log a call. This list here is completely customizable to what we want our end users to take action on. So I could have emails, that sort of thing. But I can also open a record directly from the dashboard as well. So again, what that does is allows me to not have to, grab the ID, search it in Salesforce, or search for the name and, kind of guess to make sure that this is the correct opportunity, right? I know here that I am focusing on the opportunity that I should be. So we see here a typical Salesforce opportunity record. So my details page, my related lists. But what we also see is our Einstein discovery prediction here. So not only is it letting me know what exactly is my prediction, so that 50% score, it's also letting me know why my prediction is what it is. So what are those top drivers as to what's causing this likelihood to close score to be lower than I would like it to be. So I see here my positives, but I also see my negatives. So I see that we haven't offered a discount, right? And maybe I don't want to offer a discount, right? We're marrying AI or machine learning with human knowledge, right? So allowing me to make these smarter business decisions and be able to take these into consideration when speaking with the customer. But I also see that I haven't made a pitch, right? So this here, we know that historically, when pitches are made to our company executives, that we tend to be more likely to close a deal. So really what this is offering me here is the leading causes, But here what we see is what I can do about this. So the actual recommendations or the prescriptions as points that I can change as an end user to drive the outcome, the desired outcome for this opportunity here. So I see here that if I change the pitch to yes, that I have a higher likelihood to close this opportunity, right? If I offer a bundle, a discounted bundle, that is also going to drive my likelihood to close up as well. So with that knowledge, I can actually take that and perform action directly into the record itself. So I may, get in contact with the company executives, go ahead and schedule that meeting, hold that pitch, right, and hop back into Salesforce and actually input this information here. And we'll see once I hit save, my Einstein discovery score is going to automatically update for me. So I now have a 62% likelihood to close. So what we see is this is creating a smart CRM, right? It's creating an environment where we're coaching our end users, our business users, to make these smarter business decisions. So we see, as I have this information across all of my opportunities, for example, all of the sales reps in the organization have this insight where they need it, when they need it. And that's really what drives this, drives the business forward.
Yeah, Brittany, if I could just interject at this one point, because I think it's a good comment to mention. So the goal of the delivery mechanism here is to be consumable to a business user. So I think a lot of times when we hear the words AI and machine learning, it can be intimidating, right? And we think like scripts and codes and Python and R. In this case, we're delivering this is a true AI machine learning model under the hood, but we're delivering it in a way that's understandable for someone that's on the front line of the business. And to Brittany's point, the transparency is key. If I'm a frontline user and I see a score of 61 out of 100 likelihood to close, I'm never going to trust it unless I know the leading causes behind it and why it's telling me this. So transparency is key, and the prescriptive actions on how to improve it are key. The last point I'll mention, and Brittany, sorry to jump in too much here, but this concept of Tableau CRM spiking adoption in the organization of Salesforce. A lot of times when users log into Salesforce, for good or for bad, there could be a perception of it being a data entry platform. This engagement layer becomes, a real-time feedback, a real-time benefit for some of these frontline users to want to use the CRM platform more. They're going to want to go into Salesforce, enter the right information, because they know if they do, they're going to get some accurate guidance on how to be successful in their business. So I just, that's kind of an ancillary benefit of this is improving just general Salesforce adoption, because it becomes a more engaging platform. So thanks, Brittany. Just wanted to jump in there.
No, yeah, that was perfect. Thank you, DJ. Awesome. So hopping back over to my home screen here, what I'm going to do is take a look at not only my pipeline, but also my portfolio. So my current book of business. And once I hop over here, what I see is immediately a breakdown of what my overall KPIs that I'm measuring on are. So I can understand, how many customers do I have? What are my revenue, right? All of these KPIs that really matter to me to driving my, my current book of business. I can also see who my top customers are really quickly here, and immediately identify maybe those who I haven't reached out to. So this kind of keeps me accountable and to making sure that I am focusing on those top customers to make sure that I'm retaining them, right? So here I see that Insight Corp, right, is one of my my top customers, but I haven't reached out to them in the last 180 days. So again, using that action framework, I can create a task, right? Let me make sure that I do follow up with Insight Corp. So quickly being able to create that to make sure that I am following up and retaining our business and doing what I can. To the right here, what I also see is my white space analysis. So where are companies or accounts that I can actually increase the wallet share, so penetrate other parts of our business. So immediately here, I see 3M company only has loans with us. They're spending a decent amount of money with us in loans, but no other products here. So that might be something that I want to explore further, right? How can I actually cross-sell or upsell 3M? So again, being able to open up the record directly from the dashboard itself, it's going to take me over here quickly. And this time what I see is I also have an embedded Tableau CRM dashboard into the account page itself. So what this is doing is it's creating an intentionally curated view for that business user. So for, in this case, our commercial sales rep. So this is giving me all of the information that I need in a single view. So I don't need to flip between multiple applications to gain all of this information. I have everything in one place. So whether that be trends, right? So understanding what exactly is my transactional data. So maybe I store transactional data outside of Salesforce, actually having the ability to pull it into Tableau CRM to visualize that along with our Salesforce information, really giving us that full customer 360 so I can see everything here. So here I see our white space, again, only having a product invested in loans. But what we have here is our propensity to buy products. So this here is also our machine learning Einstein discovery, surfacing up this insights to me, right? So allowing me to have smarter business decisions. So this is information that I want to take into a conversation with this customer, right? Maybe they're interested in, they would be interested in IRP or a treasury card, right? What we also see to the right here is another Einstein discovery card here that's giving me that propensity to buy additional products, right? And again, here we do see the top drivers and how I can improve this here. So again, really the value here is allowing me to understand based off of historical data, right? Based off of other customers who have loans, right? That all of these other aspects of this particular customer and finding those patterns and surfacing up based off of that, right? What would be likely for them? So being able to take that information into conversations. So with that, I'll go ahead and hop back over to the home page here. So along with white space, being able to actually grow, right, my business within my existing customer base. What I also want to do is protect my business. So make sure that I am retaining my current customers as well. So this here, what I have is a breakdown of my top customers broken down by risk of attrition. So this here, we have another Einstein discovery model where Einstein is really predicting out who is likely to churn and why they're likely to churn. So immediately I see here Insight Corp, right? And this was another red flag to me, right? I have not had contact with Insight Corp, one of my largest opportunities or one of my largest accounts. And they have a high risk of attriting. So here, this is a red flag that maybe I want to actually go ahead and open this record. So we'll see here, we also have that Einstein Grow, but we also have our Einstein attrition model as well. So what we're doing is we're not focusing on, how can we pitch additional products to this, this account here. We see that they have a low propensity to buy additional products, which we would understand, right, based off of our attrition model. So here what we see is our propensity to attrit being 78% and the leading causes as to why. Right? They have a low CSAT score. We haven't had any contact with this account in more than 365 days, so over a year now. They have multiple cases open, right? So these are all indicators that the health of this particular account is not where we would want it to be. But also, what can we do to improve this, right? So understanding, let's go ahead and set up a meeting with a sponsor. It looks like they do not have a sponsor. So let's go ahead, or we haven't set up meetings with a sponsor. So let's go ahead and do that, right? Let's create a, maybe it's a monthly cadence or a quarterly cadence to speak with this customer and understand what their pain points are, what are their goals, how can we get them there? We can also add them to an attrition campaign. So again, the point of this here is surfacing insights, allowing us to make those smarter business decisions across the organization that are tailored specifically to each opportunity, each account, right, that we're focusing on here, and allowing coaching.
Brittany, one other thing to jump in on, because I just was noticing the add to the attrition campaign option. You know, the actionability concept is critical throughout all of the use cases for Tableau CRM. The other piece of that could be automating these actions too, through something like Process Builder, where if a score reaches a certain threshold, maybe they've been identified for at risk of attrition, automatically kicking them off or adding that particular account to a nurture list or an attrition campaign doesn't necessarily have to be a manual action. You can have that, you can implement that programmatically to these models. So that's a good point. And also connecting it to things like if you're using Marketing Cloud, like Journey Builder. So if you have set journeys in Marketing Cloud, like initiating a journey from the insights you're learning from Tableau CRM. So it's a great point, Brittany. I just wanted to dive in on that a little bit more.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah, and kind of what that could look like, right, is if a threshold hits below 50, right? Let's go ahead and add them automatically to an attrition campaign. So they're being added. So it can be set through thresholds, as DJ was mentioning. But that's how it could work.
Yeah, but the goal is not to replace the human aspect. We fully appreciate so much of this is the banker's human interaction with your clients, but it's augmenting that experience to free up their time to focus more on those human interactions. So this is not something that's meant to replace a lot of that. It's meant to make it more efficient, and it's meant to make it more productive for these frontline users. Exactly.
Perfect. So hopping back over to our home page here, and now taking a look, we also see our loans maturing, just to give us a different view, right? What are loans that are maturing in the next 90 days? So we get an idea of this here, which I also see Insight Corporation, right, also has 2 loans that are maturing. So that's another red flag, right? Making sure that I do reach out to them, that we're retaining this customer because they do have those loans that are maturing. So hopping over to my client planning view here. So this is giving me an understanding of what my activities look like. So how am I trending month over month? Am I keeping up with my activities? Am I reaching out to my customers? Do I want to break this down and understand, how am I reaching out and interacting with prospects, for example? Understanding, how many emails am I sending out? How is that trending over time? And is that affecting my numbers? And do I need to make sure that I'm trending upward here, or at least even, right? What's working for me, what's not? And then lastly here, we've taken a look at my pipeline. We've taken a look at my current business, making sure that I'm retaining business there, but also growing business, right? But what about my prospects? So making sure that I am reaching out to those prospects that are most likely to convert. So I'm spending my time where there are the most calories, right? Where I'm going to get the output, the outcome that I'd like. So here I can understand from a geographical view, where are those top prospects? So easily being able to identify, maybe I want to drill down and focus on prospects who are in Florida. Right? I can see here the propensity to convert. So again, focusing on those leads who are most likely to convert here. It looks like I haven't reached out to most of them. I can also take a look at details. So maybe I want to drill down deeper and really understand these from a different view, right? So understanding, okay, who are these exactly? Where are they? That sort of thing. But what I wanted to point out here is not only being able to actually create action here, but what I can do is create bulk actions. So DJ alluded to it a bit earlier there, but what I can do is really filter down this list to make sure that I am focusing on a subset of customers that are going to, let's say, relate to this specific campaign that I'm going to add them to. So this could be a full list of users here, but what I can do is actually add them to a campaign through one click, right? Rather than having to go through each one and add them separately. We can use bulk actions. I can also set up a follow-up task for myself to make sure that I'm following up with these customers, right? Maybe it's customers who I have not been in contact with. Okay, and we can see that filtered down here as well. As we see, everything is connected. That's a quick overview of really how Tableau CRM can really improve the business process, the efficiencies of how I get to these answers before hopping in front of a customer, right? We know that our reps are great in front of the customer, but what we're trying to do is improve those operational efficiencies, give them the information that they need to be able to hop on a phone call, speak intelligently to that customer, and really have a tailored experience to overall, push our business in the direction that we'd like. Awesome. So DJ, I will go ahead and pass it back over to you.
Excellent. Thanks, Brittany. And some great questions coming in from the chat. So I was just trying to respond to a few of them there. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. Oh, where did the share button go? There it is. Okay, hopefully everyone can see my screen now. So some great questions coming in from the chat. I think some questions around the external data connection aspect. Yes, you can connect TCRM, Tableau CRM to external non-Salesforce data sources. There are a number of pre-built connectors that speak to that. That list grows a lot. Like, for example, Snowflake is one connector that we have a pretty strong, recent partnership with there. So if there are further questions there, happy to drill into that. And at this point, I think we number one wanted to thank everyone for joining, and number two, we thought as a potential follow-up, if you saw something that was of interest during the session today, or something that Anthony mentioned from a NewRez perspective, we'd love to sit down with you and your team as a one-off, right? And one of the things we can offer up is a workshop that's designed specifically around your organization. And it can be a workshop that drills into, is your Salesforce org ready for some of the Tableau CRM components we talked about today? It could be a workshop around, best practices to get started, to get ready around it. We could also just explore use cases. If you have end users that are saying, hey, I really want this piece of insight embedded in my Salesforce experience today, I can't get access to this information, we could talk through that and understand if that's a good use case for Tableau CRM. So as a follow-up to this, anyone that was on this webinar, please, reach out to us if you think a workshop like this would be helpful. Typically, we schedule it for an hour, and we can have Gene and his team join as well and speak to the implementation aspect. But from our experience, we've seen these to be very productive because we get into the nitty-gritty details of what your org looks like and what it looks like to get started with Tableau CRM. So whether you own Tableau CRM today in your org, or if you don't, and if you're thinking about it, please reach out. We'd love to get some of these workshops on the calendar. But I know we're pretty much at time here. I'll pass it back to Gene and the team to wrap up a bit. But from my perspective and from the Salesforce perspective, we wanted to thank Anthony for joining and for sharing his comments about the NewRez story. Hopefully it was helpful for the audience here. And we just wanted to thank everyone for attending. I hope you found some interesting pieces of insight here, and we really look forward to engaging with you and your teams on your Salesforce journey. And I think this workshop would be a great extension of that. So thank you, Gene. I'll pass it back to you just to wrap up from the Atrium side.
Nope, thank you, DJ. And all I just wanted to say is to echo the thanks. We just really appreciate your time. And Anthony, thank you very much for joining us today. Hope everyone has a great day today.